Hello, year one. It's Tuesday, and today we're going to be thinking about how to keep our bodies nice and fit and healthy. So, if you're looking at what I'm wearing, you might think, oh, we're going to do some PE and some physical exercise. Well, not today. Today, we're going to be thinking about other ways to keep ourselves healthy. And I know you're very good at this. So, let's see what we're going to be talking about today. Okay. So our question for today is, how do brilliant athletes create a balanced diet? So first of all, we're going to understand what that means by a balanced diet. Some of you might already have a good idea. Then we're going to discuss, and this will give you a clue, the different food groups that we need to think about to create a balanced diet. Then at the end, we're going to be creating a balanced meal. Now, I'm going to be doing that whilst the video is happening, so you can see what sort of foods we're going to use. So what we're going to need today is a pencil and a piece of paper, because you might want to take notes. There will be lots of different food groups to think about to create this balanced meal. You might also want to be doing some drawing later on, so you can pause the video at any time if you need to get something else. You also need your lovely looking eyes, your listening ears, and your super brain as always. So let's have a look at our food groups. So the first food group has got a really long name. So my turn first. Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates. Well done if you had a go at saying that word. So carbohydrates are things that we have quite a lot of in our diets. They're things that we might have for lunch or for our snacks or for dinner. So things like potatoes and bread and rice and pasta. They are things that we need to have lots of fibre in our diet. So it's really important that when you have your potatoes and your bread and your pasta, that you try and have whole grain as well, and not just the white ones. So I'm going to be making some lunch as we talk about our food groups. That's my empty plate ready. And I've chosen some things from my kitchen cupboard. So the first thing I found is my favourite bread. And I've got some wholemeal bread, which is seeded as well. Oh, it's very yummy. So that's my carbohydrates for my lunch today. I've chosen whole grain bread. Let's see what else is next in our food groups. Fruits and vegetables, something I know you're very good at eating because it's snack time. Lots of you like to have bananas, which we can see in our fruit and vegetable group, or even an apple or an orange. Sometimes we even get to have some raisins, don't we? And they're really super yummy. So I had a look in my fridge to see what fruit or vegetables I had for my lunch, and I've chosen again some more of my favourites, some tomatoes. So to my carbohydrates, I'm now adding my fruit and vegetables, which is my tomatoes. And because we have to try and have at least, how many portions do you think a day? At least 5 portions of fruit and vegetables a day. I've only got a couple of tomatoes there, but I'll probably add some more later. I'm going to try and get 2 portions in for lunch, because then that's leading up to my 5. So I've got my tomatoes, and I'm also going to have an apple as my snack for lunch as well. Okay, so that was my carbohydrates and my fruit and vegetables. I wonder if anybody knows what food group is next. One that we don't talk about very often. Begins with a sound. It's protein. Now you'll find proteins in foods like beans and lentils, and also in meat as well, and fish and eggs. So we need to make sure we're eating some of these things as well to give us a good balanced diet. So they try to say that you should have maybe one of your oily fishes to give you some good oils in your body, and you're supposed to try and eat less red meat. So that's things like beef and sausages, which are processed. You can have them still, but it's best to try and not have too much of them. So for my lunch today, I'm going to have a vegetarian lunch. I'm not going to have meat, but I still need some protein. So I've chosen my carbohydrates and my fruit and vegetables. I've gone for some hummus, because hummus is made of chickpeas, which is also full of lots of protein and healthy fats. So I've got my carbohydrates for my bread, my fruit and vegetables with my tomato, my apple, and my hummus for my protein. another food group coming up. We've got carbohydrates, fruit and vegetables, protein. What could be the next one? Do you know? It's dairy. Well done if you knew that. So our fourth food group is dairy. That's things like cheese and milk and yogurts and butter. And again, it's best to try and choose ones in lower fat with less sugar in. Now, I've gone for a bit of a sneaky one today. I've gone for one of my favourites. So I've got my carbohydrates, my fruit and vegetables, my protein, and my dairy for today. Going to be some sneaky bits of cheese. Very yummy. So I've got my cheese and there's my bread and my tomatoes. Okay. There's also another food group. Now, as you can tell, we've got a circle going on here for our food group. We've got a big portion for carbohydrates and a big portion for fruit and vegetables, and then a slightly smaller one for protein, and again, a slightly smaller one for dairy. Now, there is a tiny slither of our food groups left. I wonder if you can guess what they are. I'm sure there's going to be some of your favourite foods in them. Let's have a look. So it's things like oils, fats and sugars, and that tiny little purple slither there. And you get those kinds of foods, those kind of things in foods like chocolate and crisps and cakes and biscuits. As you can see, when you look at our big circle of food groups, it's not a lot of that we should be having because they're not very good for our bodies, but it's nice to have a little treat sometimes. Now, I've got my lunch. I've got a nice balanced lunch. I've got my whole grain bread for my carbohydrates. My tomato and apple goes with what part of my food group? Fruit and vegetable, well done. My hummus comes from protein. Can you say that word again with me? Protein. And then my cheese, what part was my cheese in? The blue section, it's dairy, well done. And then later on, I might give myself a little treat. You never know, I might have a little chocolate biscuit. There's also something else that you need to remember that's really important to have a balanced diet and for our athletic bodies. If we're going to be top athletes for PE, we need to make sure that we're keeping our bodies hydrated. That's a little clue there. What do you think I need to drink lots of? Water, well done. So as well as my lunch today, I'm going to make sure I'm drinking lots of glasses of water to keep my body hydrated. Okay, so here comes your chance now to have a go at creating a balanced diet for an athlete. Because if we're doing PE, we're all brilliant athletes and we need to make sure we're feeding our bodies good, healthy food. So there's some ideas that you might want to do today. With an adult, if you haven't had lunch or it's nearing your dinner time, you might want to try and choose a nice balanced meal with them, thinking about your 5 food groups. Have you got your carbohydrates, your fruits and vegetables, your proteins, your dairies, and maybe there's something little sneaky treat in there as well. So you could do that by creating your lunch like I've done with mine. You might, using your pen or paper, you might want to use create yourself a little plate and draw maybe your favourite balanced meal that you could think of, adding some portions of fruit and vegetable in there as well. You might also want to make a paper plate, and you might want to do some cutting and sticking. Maybe you've got some food magazines at home that you could cut some different foods out to stick on and see what kind of balanced meal you could create. Let's do one together just now, just to remind ourselves of the things we need. So I've got some foods along the bottom, and I'm going to create one of my most favourite meals. So first of all, I'm going to have a think. Oh, my first food group we talked about was carbohydrates. So what one along the bottom is carbohydrates? Oh, I know what it is, because like I said, it's one of my favourites. Mashed potato. So potato is a carbohydrate. So I've got my 1 portion of carbohydrates. I now need to think about what might go with my mashed potato. Have a look at the bottom there. What do you think I might add with mashed potato? Well done if you're right. I'm going to add sausages today, so I'm going to have a meat with my dinner. Now, like we said earlier, processed meats aren't super healthy, and sausages are processed, so they're not very, very healthy. So to cook them, I might grill them to try and get all the extra fat out. but it's okay to have them now and again. So I'm going to have carbohydrates with my potato from my mash and my protein from my sausages. Now I need to think about 2 portions of fruit or vegetable to go with my dinner. I don't want any fruit with my sausages and mash. So have a look. What vegetables do you think I'm going to choose? 2 vegetables. I'm going to have peas. Well done if you knew that one. And some broccoli. So now I've got my carbohydrates, some protein, and 2 portions of fruit and vegetables. It's now really important that I have some dairy as well. Now, when you're making your mashed potato, you might add some milk and butter into there, so that's dairy. But what other food along the bottom can you see that is dairy? Is it pasta, tomato, egg, or yogurt? Well done if you guessed it is yogurt. So after my dinner, I might have a nice yogurt to go with it. As you can see, I've got no oily fats there because I am having some processed meat for my sausages. So there'll be a bit of oil and fat in those. So I haven't given myself a treat today, but I've made sure I've got my carbohydrates, my fruit and veg, my dairy, and my protein. So now it's your turn. See if you can have a go at creating your own balanced diet. And you make sure you've got some really healthy things in there. What kind of meal could you create? If you are feeling creative and you would like to make yours by cutting and sticking or drawing, don't forget to share it with us on Tapestry. Maybe you might help your adults tonight make some dinner or your lunch, and you could take a photo to share with us also. Can't wait to see the balanced meals that you create to help make yourself be brilliant athletes. Well done, everybody. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.